just like old times. Only better, right? Better.
Get your popcorn ready. Hi guys, this is Natasha, aka Natty Willie, and I am here with another series review. The Best Man, the final chapters. Finally here, it is available on Peacock just in time for the holidays. So if you haven't seen The Best Man Holiday, please go watch those movies. They are very good movies, and this show definitely brought the original cast back. Everyone's back. We got a new generation with their kids, and this was just a really good show, just encompassing everything, or continuing a journey that we've started in The Best Man. And I want more, but this is actually still a good place to end it. And the friendships that these characters have that have endured for so many years, the ups and downs, the marriages that, you know, grow apart or completely fail, and just people moving on, and even just, you know, relationships with the kids. Just everything about this show was awesome. There are a few like snippets here and there that I wasn't really too keen on, but also some things didn't feel like they were completely wrapped up for me. But other than that, like, the cast was phenomenal as always. The chemistry between these actors has always been amazing. Now, for some reason, I always thought that Taye Diggs and Sanaa Lathan, like, their relationship, Harper and Robin, I never quite could believe it. I always thought he had amazing chemistry with Nia Long, and aka Jordan, but I mean, I felt the affection, but the passionate love I never really felt. So that's pretty much going to be like my non-spoiler portion. Definitely go watch it. It's definitely worth. It's 8 episodes. I got this done like in 2 days, but I definitely want to get into like a spoiler section to really dig deep into like the moments that really stood out to me. And so if you have not seen the show yet, you don't know what happened, you don't know what's happened, you haven't seen all 8 episodes, about to spoil it. So please, if you haven't watched it, again, final warning. So yeah, I've been warned. So I really wanted to kind of like dig a little bit deeper as far as like what happened on the show, what I liked about what happened in the show, and stuff that I didn't really like about what happened in the show. Definitely some moments that really stood out. It was definitely emotional. I was actually crying a little bit, or, you know, getting teary-eyed, and just, you know, laughing with some of these characters. Some stuff they definitely did throwbacks or, you know, hints of from the first 2 movies, especially when it came to Shelby's character. Trying to break up the wedding, Quentin's wedding, was just so messy and so not necessary, especially when she kind of tried to do something similar in The Best Man Holiday. And so I actually appreciated Nicole Parker, who played Ziamara, the fiance, as far as like one-upping her. Their game with each other was hilarious, but also like sad at the same time, because it's kind of like you actually thought Ziamara was winning, but Shelby came through at the end there and she wound up getting Quentin. And I don't know if Quentin would have realized it sooner, before the wedding, if she wasn't as messy as she was. It's kind of like what he loves about her, weirdly. So I guess it weirdly works, but I just feel like the messiness was just not necessary. It didn't show growth on her part. And I actually appreciated Shelby as far as like her actually caring for Quentin throughout the series. Like her support of him through the COVID pandemic, with everything that was happening with his business, with his dad, and everything like that. That made me actually appreciate Shelby and see another side of her that I really liked. You saw kind of hints of it in The Best Man Holiday, but you actually got to see her like being a mom, trying to be show her daughter a different way than how she's acted. Her learning to be vulnerable, that kind of thing, that I actually did appreciate that. And their marriage was actually one of the more healthy ones of the series, as well as Murch and Candace. I really feel like if Mia hadn't died, her relationship with Lance, I still think it would have been strong. I don't think they would have broken up. I think it really would have put a different spin on what happened later, especially with their son LJ, and Lance trying to be his rigidness as far as like what he wants his son to be versus what he is. And but I do think that and this is a good segue, another thing I really liked is the changing dynamics of families and the kids growing up and trying to, you know, really explore who they are and kind of knowing who they are and having their parents kind of, you know, be supportive and or not accept it, and what are the repercussions from that. And I did like how supportive the other, you know, friends were for LJ, as well as the other kids, and even like, you know, Jordan, just everyone else was really supportive of his journey. And so of course Lance was really late to get to the program, and it had to take him going missing for him to really realize that what God was trying to tell him to do was be supportive of his son. And love his son for who he is and not what he wants him to be. Because he was always praying like, you know, change him. Well, no, you needed to change. And it's just being a supportive parent. And I did like that. I appreciated what they were trying to do with that, especially the tie-ins with Mia, and the missing her, and just little things like that. Another thing that really stood out to me was, and it was really funny, was the phone call when everyone was discovering that LJ was non-binary. It was just really funny, but cute at the same time, because again, it's like you have us, we're kind of like around the same age, kind of going through these changes and where sex and gender kind of come into play here. And so it was just funny, but also cute at the same time that, you know, again, everyone was supportive, and it was really nice to see that. Another thing that really stood out to me is just, you know, the communication and how important that is in a relationship and marriage, whether it's friendship or more importantly, a marriage. And the different relationships, especially with Murch and Candace, their changes that they were going through mentally, their job changes, and what they were trying to like do for the community, as well as especially Robin and Harper, how you can grow and how your goals may change, or just how important it is to really just communicate what your needs are. And Robin did admit later, especially in the therapy session, she didn't really do that. She was kind of like biting her tongue. So he's not a mind reader, and it's probably a perfect example of how much we want to just have people be mind readers, but they're not at the end of the day. So it's just important for you to communicate what your needs are in a way that is respectful, but giving that person an opportunity to show up. Quentin's health scares and his dad, his relationship with his dad, I like that they kind of explored that, because you didn't really get to see that too much in the first two movies. So I did appreciate that too. Murch running through the different scenarios with the lady after the taxi incident, after he sees her just randomly, you know, having lunch with friends. It's really one of those things where it's an understandable position, and it's like it's a lose-lose situation whichever way you slice it. People will be like, well, it's woke or whatever, but at the same time, this is part of our reality. It is. Not everyone experiences it, but enough people experiences it, and that's their experience. And him trying to like really find himself and adjust to the changes that are going on in his life, but also be the loving, supportive father and husband to Candace as she's going through school. And it was, I was getting heartstrings, or my heart was being pulled when Candace she came home after pretty much being assaulted from someone that she admired and someone that she looked up to, who was helping her with her paper, and just, you know, not really expecting what happened. And so her trying to process that, and her maybe wanting to communicate that with her husband, but having to try and process that herself. I was really sympathetic to her, and of course Regina Hall just really gave us that emotion that was needed. Another one that I was really actually kind of like getting teary-eyed was Jordan, and talking about her potentially this being her last shot of being a mother. Now, she's been a godmother to Lance's kids, and of course being, you know, the auntie or what have you, and just not having, one, a stable relationship, and also or a long-lasting relationship, how about that, and just, you know, a child of her own that she could love and support, and considering she's getting older, just that being that last opportunity, and if, you know, she'll have that kind of a future. And Jordan's, you know, journey into kind of like not focusing on work so much, because she's ambitious, she has good instincts, and especially when it happened with Shelby and, you know, the show that she was trying to produce, and just, you know, her overall focus on herself and what makes her happy. That journey was, you know, really good as well. Just the show itself, it really went into different themes, and every scene with the four guys together, whether it's poker or just, you know, Lance and Harper being together, or Murch and Quentin being together, and them conversing and talking about their lives, and, you know, sometimes the issues that they have with each other and how that's resolved or not resolved. And that was one of the other things that kind of bothered me, that I feel like some things didn't kind of wrap up. One of the things I didn't feel like they kind of wrapped up too well was Quentin and his dad. Like, I really felt like we should have gotten some kind of a scene of his reaction maybe to Quentin's heart attack, or just them kind of like maybe resolving their issues, and maybe even finding out what happened to the dad. Like, we saw that he wasn't really well, but did we find out what kind of condition that he had? It was kind of like convoluted. And then one other thing that kind of bothered me was like this weird shot with Jordan and Demetrius as they were talking. It was like really super close up, and it didn't really make sense, and I was like, why would y'all, what I'm not understanding that. And there was actually a conversation that, you know, Murch and Candace's kids were having about the fact that they didn't feel, or they were like intimidated, or just didn't feel like they were as close to LJ and Kennedy as they could be, because it just felt intimidating based on their lifestyle, and just, you know, maybe being made fun of or something like that. And I felt like that could have been addressed, and I didn't really see too much of the kids interacting with each other than LJ and Kennedy, because of course they were a lot closer, which kind of makes sense, especially since they're around the same age. And I don't know, I guess I wanted them to explore that a little bit more. Another thing that I just I was kind of irritated by was the callback, especially with Harper and Jordan, them kissing, and his marriage was pretty much at an end at that point, but it wasn't like officially ended. And I just feel like the callback to what happened in the first movie, especially with them kissing while he's in a relationship, and then him kind of like pretty much cheating again, even though his marriage was being close to done, even though he didn't realize it yet, that really bugged me, because it's kind of like, why have him fail that test again, as far as, you know, being faithful to Robin. Now, Robin was tempted herself. I was yelling at the screen. I'm like, dude, go home. You don't need to be here, sir. Leave. Thank you. Go on. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. And I was like, Robin, please don't fall into temptation, girl. Even though I understand. Their marriage was kind of like fractured at that point, and it was compounding things. So that breath of fresh air that she was feeling, I get it, but I'm glad she kind of resisted, whereas unfortunately Harper didn't, and that really bugs me. If they had that moment after the divorce, I would have been fine with that, but it bothered me that they had to do that while he was technically still married. Like, that just, it didn't need to happen that way. Lance's evolution, as far as him grieving, and then him finding love again with Jasmine. Jasmine was a cutie pie. I'm glad that he was starting to at least be more present in his kids' lives. And then of course we had the situation with LJ. But it was funny because the other like younger kids other than Mia didn't really get a lot of screen time, and I feel like if they had like 10 episodes, we could have like maybe fleshed out their characters a little bit, because I would have wanted to learn more about them and their personalities a little bit. But I guess we got enough with the older kids to kind of get away with that. And even maybe just Kennedy having more of a, I mean, she had that moment when Quentin almost had another heart attack again, but in calling him dad. But I just feel like her shallowness, yeah, she's pretty much Shelby 2.0, but I just feel like I would have wanted to see a little more growth from her. Yeah, I feel like those are like the main things that I kind of wanted to bring up about the show. Again, I really enjoyed myself. Again, I laughed, I cried. It's definitely worth a watch. And please let us know what you think of the series. Did you have other moments that kind of stood out to you, that kind of bothered you, or you know, something that just, you know, glossed, you know, over your head or whatever? One more thing I did wanted to mention about merch, you know, learning how to fight. Those fight scenes were kind of like kind of wonky, but I'm glad that he was trying to like find himself and trying to like find an outlet to place his anger. And I think it would have been nice to see like the friends, like the guys, kind of like work out with him at some point in the future. Again, if this was 10 episodes, I feel like they could have fleshed that out a little bit more. But they were supportive in one of his first matches, so that was nice. And it was kind of like messed up that Harper wasn't even really considering Murch's feelings as far as the movie and how he was portrayed. And it's like, yeah, you got everyone's blessing, but you didn't make sure that they were portrayed in a way that's favorable to them, even though it was kind of like reality at the time. And I don't know, that kind of bothered me too, now that I think about it. But other than that, yeah, let me know what you think. Definitely like and subscribe if you want to, you know, look at more videos from us. We definitely have more reviews and stuff coming. 2023 is going to be a big year, just as much as 2022 was. And follow us on all forms of social media. And I'll hit y'all later. Bye.